Start your business for the freedom of time. Now you're tired of the hustle and grind. There's gotta be a better way. It's time to listen to Chill and Prosper. Welcome to Chill and Prosper. You're ready to chill and prosper with Denise Duffield-Thomas.
Hi there, beautiful. It's Denise here, and this episode of Chill and Prosper is one that, again, it's kind of personal. I like these episodes where I'm sharing things personally, but it's something that a lot of people have asked me to do and people have a lot of questions about, and it is why I'm selling my rose farm. Now, I'm in a little bit of a tricky spot right now because we're in the sales period for it now, and all things going well, it should, we're doing like an expressions of interest with a deadline and stuff like that. So we're trying at the moment, we're in the marketing phase to get as many people to see it as possible so we can get all those juicy offers. So hopefully by the time you're listening to this, it is sold and done and dusted. So I'm in a little tricky spot because obviously there's some things I can't share all the bads of it because someone might hear it and then they don't want to buy it. So I'm trying to be as honest as I can, but also, there's probably some reflecting that will happen after the sale too. Okay, but I know some people have got questions, so I wanted to talk about it now. Okay, so backstory on this is the last couple of years my business has really grown, and it's been fast and furious. We've doubled every year. I've made a lot of money, helped a lot of people. And so as part of that, we built our dream house by the beach and we bought this rose farm. And the way it happened for me is I was pregnant with baby number 3 and I was feeling really stuck because I was thinking, I'm never going to be able to travel again. All my friends are traveling and going to conferences and doing photo shoots in Paris and being able to do all these amazing things. And I've just had my 3rd baby and I'm so tired and I basically can't do anything. And so actually during my pregnancy with her, because I was so tired, I had, a toddler, 2 toddlers really, I had 2 and a 4-year-old. I started reading this magazine, Country Style magazine. And I was really trying not to just do work. And I think it was Piper's energy too. We knew very early on her name was Piper Rose. And I think she was just really bringing this beautiful feminine energy. And now that I know her personality, I totally believe that even more. She's very much about pleasure and she loves clothes and textures and beautiful things. And I remember seeing her in her pram one time and she had this lollipop and she was looking at it and she was going, I deserve this. I really deserve it. And it was just such a cute moment. She loves animals and she just loves pleasure and all those things. So that was coming through for sure when I was pregnant with her. And so I was reading this Country Style magazine. And it's always like people renovating beautiful houses in the country. And the style of it was definitely reminding me of my grandmother and going to her house. So I think also, because she was born in 2018. I feel like that's when this nostalgia thing started to come, cottagecore and stuff. And it was very much reminding me of my grandmother who died when I was 25. She didn't get to meet any of my grandchildren. And so it felt like it was a way to connect to her, to read this magazine and to think about this stuff. But I was always just going, oh my God, who are these people who go on a weekend trip and they fall in love with this old farmhouse and then they renovate it? Like, what? Who are these people? And so I was looking on real estate websites while I was just at home waiting for this baby to be born. And I found this beautiful property and it was full grown trees and just absolutely gorgeous. And I just sort of went, of course we're not going to buy a farm. We're building a house, no. But yet the idea kind of persisted and I saw it come up again once Piper was born. She was maybe 6 weeks old or something. And there was a price reduction. And I said to Mark, should we just go out and see it? Because I love going to see real estate. And I think that was in my early phase of growing my business, it was actually a really great manifesting tool for me before I made any money, to go to open houses and to go, one day I can afford this, and to just be in a different air and to kind of imagine myself living in a more abundant house. And so by that stage, I was like, it's fine if you go and look at property. Like, it's no big deal. Real estate agents don't mind. They know it's a numbers game. They know that someone's going to buy it, and they want to be able to tell the owner, hey, we had X many groups come through. So they're not super attached to every single person that comes. And I said to Mark, oh, there's no open houses. We'd have to actually make an appointment to go see it. And I think he was just in a phase of like humoring the woman who just had a baby. I don't know. You know, when you're just like, it's like, yes, have this muesli bar because you're a bit hangry. I think he was just like, okay. And I'd sort of painted this picture. I was like, wouldn't it be amazing to have a place that we could just go to, a holiday house? It sounds ridiculous now because I'm like, why did I think that was a good idea with all the reality of it? But it felt very romantic to go, okay, let's do it. So he said, okay, let's go and see this property. And I had Piper strapped to my chest. The others were in daycare or with the nanny. And I stepped out on this land and I went, oh my God. And he looked at me and he was like, oh no. And I could see his face because he's gone along with so many of my plans, my mad schemes and things like that. And I think he just knows when I've got my heart set on something, I'll just make it happen. And so I was like, oh, and I could just go, oh, I can imagine our kids getting married here. And it just blew me away. And like, it's just a very special piece of land. You really feel the energy of it when you are on it. And we're walking around and I was like, I could do this here and this here and this here. And I was just caught up in the creativity of the space. And he was like, yeah, but we just can't do it. And I went, let's get our financial advisors out here. And because they were like, guys, no, you're putting so much money into building the beach house. Like, why would you do this at the same time? It's such a risk. And I said, just come out and see it. And so they did the same thing and they went, oh, we can totally see the vision. So if you want to do this, you know, it's going to take some work. And I went, I'm willing to do it. And at the time too, Mark was fairly, he'd been in the business maybe 2 years. And it was great having someone who could do launches, like just big complicated launches, because it was always a bit hard for me to do all those moving pieces. And Mark is really good at that. And so I went, we'll just do a launch. And I would say too, it was a very lucky period where I think launches were easier, I think, back then too. And I had a big list and I was like, well, if we just do a big launch, I'll be able to afford to buy this and the beach house. Again, I know it's a very privileged thing, but I just wanted to share that because it was like, we didn't have the money, but it was like the dream of it was so exciting that I was like, I'm willing to do the work for it. Even though launches was still something I didn't really like to do. I hated sending emails. I felt like, you know, it brought up all my visibility blocks, but I was like, well, this is what I'm doing it for. So I always say to people, if you're doing a launch, like having a big dream attached to it can be such a powerful thing. So anyway, we bought that. And then, so this was, 2018, start of 2019. What happened in 2019? What happened? So we bought the farm and then we were like, okay, so we need to do all of these things to it. There was a lot of renovation stuff. And also we were in a phase where we were making good profit, so we could kind of plow that back in there. And I found a team out there who could really just run with things. I hired somebody to do events, all this kind of stuff. And then COVID happened. And I remember just thinking, oh my God, like what have we done? And, you know, there were some lucky things that happened. Construction never had to shut down around there, so they could still do through COVID. My business was really successful during COVID. A lot of people were joining courses. And so we had a really busy kind of couple of years there, and the government helped with some things. So it was just like, okay, we can make it happen. So then the farm went into this intense period of like 2 years of this massive creativity. And it was so cool at that time too, because anything I could dream up, the team would do. And I had profit to do it. So I'd be like, imagine if we could turn this barn into this like fairy lights and all this kind of stuff. And they'd be like, all right. Because like we were, you know, hiring, you know. And so I think a lot of the construction industry too, even though they were very busy at the time, they were all worried too. So that team were like, whatever you want, we will make it happen straight away. So I just was like, oh, okay, cool. And so on that property, so we completely renovated the house. So it went from, it was an old house, but it just wasn't super, it had some charm, but it was all mismatched. So like it had all been worked on at different times. And so we put about $1 million into renovating the house, and it's just so beautiful and so charming. And it really, again, helped me connect to my grandmother, and I did a lot of thrifting, and you know, a lot of things in there are secondhand and reclaimed, which is all really important to me. We turned the horse stables into like an outdoor kitchen, an outdoor bathroom. We renovated the barn. There was like a little studio. We turned into this charming studio. We did this beautiful creative cottage, like just unbelievable, beautiful things. So for probably 3 years, I reckon we did work there. It was just like creation in a way that wasn't business, you know, because I feel like with my business, yes, I could be creative, but I still don't want to always like do a lot of new things in my business. I don't want to reinvent the wheel. So I was like, where am I going to put this creativity? Because I don't want to blow up my business. And I don't want to do things too wacky there when it's working. So I was plowing it all into the rose farm. And then of course, like it becomes this thing. I was trying to think of the analogy for it. And the one I've settled on was that poem of the woman who swallowed the fly. You know, she accidentally swallowed a fly, but then she swallowed like a cat to eat the fly. I'm going to look up the poem in the break, because that's what happened, right? It became, oh, I want this space to be with our family and to have this beautiful creative project. And then it turned into something else. And that is 100% one of my life lessons, especially as a ruler archetype. We unintentionally create work for ourselves. Okay, so let me take a quick break, and then I'll be right back. And again, I know some of these episodes where I talk about stuff like this, it's like, yes, it's a privilege and rich people problems. I know that the lessons from it are the same lessons that I would have had at any phase of my life and income. Okay, so hopefully you get something out of that gives you permission to change your mind as well. All right, let's take a break. I'll be right back. It's your time and you're ready for the next step. It's your time and you're ready for the next step. It's your time and you're totally ready for the next step. So many times we are waiting for the perfect moment, for all of the green lights, or for someone else to tap us on the shoulder and say, you're ready. But it has to come from inside you, and you can declare yourself ready now. Put your hand on your heart and try it with me. It's my time and I'm ready for the next step. If you know deep in your heart, even if you're scared, that you're ready to let go of some of your money fears and finally profit from your skills and talents, it's time to get to work. Your next step is to come and join us in Money Bootcamp. You can work with me as your money mindset mentor and join our beautiful community so you can really give yourself permission to make money and change the world. Click below to find out more, but don't wait any longer. Come and join us today. We're ready for you, and it's your time and you're ready for the next step. Okay, welcome back. I'm talking about why I made the decision to sell my rose farm. Okay, so we've just gotten to this phase where it was like, growing, changing, renovating everything, huge creative projects. And also, I realized too that when we first bought it, so I was 39, had 3 young children, a baby, a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. I didn't feel like I had a lot of creative freedom because yes, I had my business, but I wasn't doing things like ballet. I wasn't doing cross stitch. I wasn't doing craft. I wasn't doing a lot of things for myself. Business was my outlet for all of those things. So I kind of felt like I needed something big, bold, and creative to pour my love and attention into that wasn't business. It also was a different side of my personality too. And I loved for a while, like I felt very feminine, when we were there, I had like almost a whole separate wardrobe of like thrifted nana clothes when I went out there, like pink linen overalls and like rosy, like anything with a rose on it I would buy. So I had like, you know, jeans with roses on them, and like I'd wear pink things out there, and it felt like just exploring a different part of my personality than, oh, lucky bitch Denise always wears blue, has a combi kind of thing. It just felt really nice, and I was always really inspired to cook when I was out there and just explore this different part of my personality. And it was also, and this is crucial for this decision, it was pre-ADHD diagnosis and it was pre-perimenopause. So those two things have shifted my life in such a profound way. I noticed that sometimes in building and renovating the farm, I lost a little bit of attention to detail for things. So sometimes I'd like, you know, get a big bill and I'd go, oh, I don't remember, you know, or Mark would go, how much is the barn costing to renovate? And I'd go, I'm not 100% sure, because I just wasn't across the details with my ADHD. Or I would sort of go, yeah, go do that thing. And I would ask no follow-up questions like, well, how much is it going to cost? Or how long is it going to take? And of course, the team out there, they were stoked just to make my dreams come true and to do it, because it was work, you know, work for them. And I was just like saying yes to everything, right? And there was this one incident that, no, it happened a few times, I'm not going to lie, where it was almost like overcompensation for my childhood, where we moved around a lot, we didn't have a lot of stuff, we weren't allowed to collect things because we moved so much, and also we didn't have a lot of money, right? And so suddenly I was enabled to be able to buy and salvage a lot of things. I always loved that as a kid. I'd think, oh, you know, someone threw out that thing, what can I use it for? And so then being a grown-up and having enablers to do that, who would be like, oh, I'll renovate the thing for you, was so exciting, because I would always be that kid who I'd pick something up and then I wouldn't ever paint it or sand it or do all the things. Suddenly I had a team of people who would do it for me. And so then I was like, well, let's do that again. And here's the example. I was thrifting and I saw this couch, and it was like a particular wooden couch with like ornate knobs and like carvings and stuff on it. And I was like, oh, wow, this would be so cool if we painted it white and reupholstered it. And the lady was like, oh, yeah, it's this particular Queen Anne, whatever it was, Queen something. And I was like, oh, it's a whole thing. She's like, yeah. And then I found another couch at another thrift store. And I was like, oh, this is a whole thing. And then I was like, oh, my God, in the barn, when people come for a conference here, instead of sitting on normal, boring chairs, why don't they sit on these amazing thrifted chairs that can all be painted and upholstered from the local upholstery lady? Like, and then my creative juices just started flowing, and I went, oh my God, I've done something. I've never done this before in my life, because usually the logistics would have stopped me. I hired a truck. I've never driven a truck in my life, right? I only got my first car when I was like 31. I hired a truck. The algorithm kicked in on Marketplace, Facebook Marketplace, and suddenly I saw all these couches. And in one weekend, I got 22 couches. 22. Now, it's not about the money, right? Because I've just never been allowed to do that before. If I had been allowed, I would have been that kid, like my kids that collect rocks and like things. It was like a compulsion, like a gotta catch them all kind of thing. And then they all got painted, and then I had a beautiful local upholsterer do them all in floral patterns and all that kind of stuff. Amazing. But then I did the same thing with like picnic baskets. I was like, oh my God, imagine if people come here for a conference and then we give them a picnic basket and they've got all their, you know, food in there for their lunch. So then I fixated on that for a while, and I got like 22 picnic baskets. And like, I just did that with a few different things. And yes, again, privileged that I had the money to it, but it really wasn't about the money. It was like having the space to do it and a total overcompensation for my childhood. I was like, oh, I've got a barn, I can feel it, you know, and what else can I do? What else can I do? And of course, then, you know, having people who will just actually do it, like even Mark is an enabler, because Mark will go, I'll be like, take this $50, meet this person under the bridge, collect something from there. He's like, what am I collecting? Don't ask any questions. Just go to the bridge. Give that lady $50. And then he's like, I've got this picnic basket for you. I'm like, great. If he wouldn't do that, I wouldn't be hiring the truck all the time. Okay, so that's the lesson too of going, what am I overcompensating for? And then I realized too that one of the things I was overcompensating for is Mark and I were like, we're going to have such a different childhood for our kids. Like, we both grew up with single parents and not a ton of money. So we kind of tried to overcompensate a little bit too of going, well, we want them to have this magical childhood and we want them to, have this farm and have all these things, not realizing that we were then being so busy to pay for the things that we were less connected as a family and less present because it was more complication. So then we're building a house, we're building all this stuff at the farm, we're having to make all these decisions all the time, which was actually fine. The building of it was great. But then when it becomes then, a tree's fallen down, a fence has fallen down, like just all the maintenance stuff that comes with 10 acres of property, an old house, an old barn, there's always just something happening. And I'm happy to share the numbers again. Please don't at me and say I know there's a cost of living crisis. This is true. This is what happened though. So the farm ended up costing us, once we put in all the money for renovation, it was probably about $200,000 a year as running costs, with just keeping everything going and maintenance and mowing and all that kind of stuff. And most of that was because we didn't live there. If you lived there, and what previous owners have done is, the husband mowed the lawns and did the weeding and, cut the flowers and did the maintenance, and the wife sold roses and maybe ran the shop or ran the events. We couldn't do any of that because we were so busy running my real business, Lucky Bee business, which was going gangbusters. And for me, having to then, do my photo shoots and do my calls and do all the things, I didn't have time to actually run that business at all. In another life, yes, I've been an events person before. I love doing logistics. In another life, I would totally be running that business 100%. But I was trying to do it with 10% of my energy. And also, it's not my business. So as soon as it became about okay, so for us to have this place that we can just come and relax and be with our family, we actually have to run a business to pay for the thing that would just cover the cost of that so then we can enjoy it. So do you see what I'm saying about I'm just going to do it now, the woman who swallowed a fly, because this is exactly what started to happen, right? Let me just find it. I've found it on Wikipedia. Okay, there was an old lady who swallowed a fly. I don't know why she swallowed a fly. Perhaps she'll die. There was an old lady who swallowed a spider that wriggled and jiggled and tickled inside her. She swallowed the spider to catch the fly. I don't know why she swallowed a fly. Perhaps she'll die. And then it keeps on going. And so then it's she swallowed the bird to catch the spider. She swallowed the spider to catch the fly. She swallowed a cat to catch the bird, to catch the spider, to catch the fly. And then it goes on, and then it's she swallowed a dog to catch the cat, to catch the bird, to catch the spider, to catch the fly. She swallowed a goat to catch the dog, to catch the cat, to catch the bird, to catch the spider, to catch the fly. And then the last one is she swallowed a cow to catch the goat, to catch the dog, the cat, the bird, the spider, the fly. And then the last one is there was an old lady who swallowed a horse. She's dead, of course. That's how it ends. And I really got to that point where I was like, oh, what have I done? Because then Airbnb is doing really well. The flowers are doing well when there's someone to do it. We tried lots of different business models. I hire someone to run the event side, but then it's not so easy. So then I'll go there and go, oh, why is there lime green hand wash in here and not rose scented hand wash? Why is there, palm tree toilet paper, not the rose toilet? So then I have to create a manual. Then I have to create a checklist. Then I have to check, and so then it's I've hired someone to create a manual, to teach the cleaner, to have a good Airbnb thing, to make the money, to pay for the mortgage, so I can have a relaxing time with my family. Do you see what I'm saying? And so then it becomes we're trying to live every lifetime. We're trying to create too much. And Mark and I are trying to create this legacy for our kids that they don't even want or care about. Like we were saying to them, what do you guys love about the farm? And they were like, we love the pool. And what they really love is the togetherness. They love that when we're out there, like we're not necessarily working, we're not, on our phones a lot, we cook, we're out in the pool, we're walking around. So for them, it is the togetherness. And yes, they were a little bit upset when we said we were selling it because they like the idea of having it too, but they don't realize then that oh, cool, I have to run retreats to pay for the thing. And I liked running my retreats too, but it wasn't, do you see what I'm saying? It's like, all I wanted was a relaxing place that my family can be together. And then suddenly I'm 5 layers in, I've swallowed a horse to get the thing. And so it was a big wake up call for me to go, oh, and I tell you the 2 things that made the wake up call. One is I had a friend over, and for the first couple of years, I loved taking people on a tour and going, this is what we did, and we changed this, and we did this, and oh, this is from this beautiful upholstery lady, and this is this, and like, this is the perfect color, and I picked these 3 different colors because of this, this, and this. I loved showing them the history of everything. And I had a friend around recently who'd never seen it, and she's like, show me around. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was not enthusiastic about it, and all I could see I was like, oh, that bush needs to be trimmed, and oh, I need to talk to the cleaner about the light fixtures and it hasn't been done. Oh, there's a frog here. And it was like, oh, the work, the reality of it has outweighed the pleasure for me. And especially when, like in 2024, I went out twice. I mean, I was traveling a lot, but I was like, oh, why? And realizing that our kids are going to have a much better childhood with parents who aren't thinking about, like we're sitting there and I'm like going, oh, that fence needs to be redone. Oh, I need to make sure I blah, 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 blah. Like, oh, all of the things, it just became a different thing. And this is what rulers do. Rulers in money archetype, we're always like missing the forest for the trees. We always create extra work for ourselves. We reinvent the wheel. It's never enough. It's never enough. And so I think I did so much work on this with my kinesiology and coaches, and to say, am I giving up because it's too hard now, or it's not as fun and the real work started? Or is that the money block that I'm working on? Or is the block I'm being stubborn now and going, well, I'm just going to make it work. I'll try a different system. Oh, I'll try a different thing. I'll just work harder at it. And I was like, which one is it? And that's why it took me so long to make that decision, because I was like, I don't want to be someone who just gives up that dream because it requires some logistics and that's boring to me. But also, am I going into a different phase where I actually don't have to make things complicated, and it's okay for things not to be hard and to have an easier, less complicated life? And so, yeah, it really took me a while to figure out which one was the thing. And then my first thought was, oh, people are going to be so disappointed in me, because people were sending me messages, oh, I really can't wait to go on a retreat there. And then I was like, but that's my pattern. Everyone else gets to enjoy this place, and I'm the one who has to be responsible for it. Everyone else can have this beautiful retreat experience where they don't have to think about the logistics of how to get from A to B. And on my retreats too, we made this whole thing about, with my team, I'd be like, I don't want people to have to think about anything. We go to lunch, the music's on, I want it to be magical. Then we come back to the house, everything's magically cleaned up. I know what work is behind the scenes of that, right? So I don't get to enjoy that. I create these moments for other people. I had a friend around, and we're laying around in the pool, then Mark brings out a snack plate, and we've got the beautiful big decanters and all the kind of stuff, and she's like, wow, it's just so relaxing being here. And I'm like, yeah, for you, not for me, because I'm having to do the logistics for it. And so then it's like, same with the kids when they were like, oh, but we want to come. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm the only one who has to deal with the reality of this. And then I'm the one who has to think about how to pay for it. Again, in another life, I'd live there, I'd run the road, like I do all this stuff, but it just didn't make sense to pay for everyone to do all these things for me to enjoy it 5 nights a year. And then even then too, like when at the start, like when we'd go out there, I'd have all my farm clothes out there. We'd have the kids stuff out there. Once it becomes an Airbnb, it becomes a different thing. So then I'd be like, well, we could go out there, but it's going to cost us money because we have to pay for the cleaner before and after, and not just like a random cleaner. Like every cushion has to be in place, and every, little thing. I can't keep clothes there anymore. We have to lock the cupboard. And again, if that was my business, I'd be fine. But as soon as it's not really my core business, it feels resentful. I go, oh, like if someone was like, oh, there's leaves on the trampoline, I'd be like, oh, I'm like, I don't care. And so if I can't do it perfectly, and like, I'm like, why am I doing it? Why did I forget why you swallowed the horse, right? So the thing that I'm really excited about though, I'm just going to speak this into existence. The next person who buys it is going to be someone who's visionary, creative. It's their business. They are in the hospitality business. They are in the event business. They are in that, creative, or they are in like the florist business, something like that, where they have the expertise. I was cosplaying being a farmer. I was cosplaying, I didn't know anything about roses. I loved the creativity of it. And so now on the other side of that, someone who, my kids are a little bit older, I have different priorities. And so I can't hold on to something because it brings other people pleasure, it's other people's dreams. And that's my biggest lesson in the last couple of years is my family has to come first. My dreams have to come first. I'm not responsible for everyone else. I'm not, it's been such a beautiful lesson. And I know I will be sad for that final time. And, I was like, maybe I should do a last retreat. Maybe. And I'm like, no, you're doing it again. You're thinking of other people's experience of it. What do you want? And so for me, I really want to hand it over to someone who will do it justice. It's their dream. They feel really lucky to be able to be the next custodians of it. They appreciate the work and the effort and the money and just the care and love and attention that I've poured into that place, and the creativity, the beautiful people I've brought to that place to put their creativity into the land and their energy. And and just to feel really complete when I leave. I was thinking maybe I'll put a little plaque somewhere to be like, our family owned it from this time to this time. But I was just thinking of the wrong legacy for the kids. I know what they need is someone who honors themselves, changes their mind when things aren't working, and who is present with them. And what I love about our new house, which I haven't spoken about, and I haven't really shared it as well, because I don't know, I just haven't felt the need to do that and to turn that into a business, but it has a big pool, it has a big tennis court. I feel like we're together a lot more, and I want to be the house that has the sleepovers and has people around. They don't need to come out to our farm for us to impress them with it. That's the legacy I want to give to the kids. And you know what would be so amazing if they can get married there in the future, because someone has made it into this amazing wedding venue. That is what would be really cool. So anyway, hopefully that makes sense. And so if you had questions about it, or if you've heard reasons why, that's the real reason why we're selling the farm. It's just that it's complete for me. It's served its purpose. It gave me so much. I'll always be grateful to that space and the energy of that space. I'll always be so proud of myself for what we did out there. And anyone who bought from my business in those years, like, your energy is in that space too, because that's where my business profits went for a long time. And also, I had one last aha that I want to share with you after the break too. So thank you for listening to this rose farm thing, but here's another big lesson that I learned from it right after the break, real quick. When did you join Money Boot Camp?
At the beginning of this year, so I'm a fairly newbie.
Yeah. And what made you decide, how did you find out about it? What made you decide that you needed to work on your money mindset?
One of my gorgeous clients came to see me and she recommended you, and she told me she'd been up to the Rose Farm and done a special mastermind for a weekend. And I had actually heard of your books, but I hadn't read them. So I bought a couple of books, read them, and thought, oh, wow, this is something that would be really, really good for me.
And what was the first kind of aha that you had in the program?
I really think it's just made my mind expand. Now, I've been a long time follower of personal development. I think it was probably about 30 years ago that I first read creative visualization. So read lots of books, but I don't think I've really embodied it. And just being in part of boot camp and being in the Facebook group and seeing like your success and the success of all the other women, it's like, wow, it's just really expanded my mind to think, yeah, well, if this is possible for other people, then this can be possible for me. So, and just looking at different ways of doing things. Yeah, and so now, because for the last 5 years I've worked exclusively one-on-one with people, and now just opening my mind and starting a group program, and yeah, it's just like the sky's the limit. So it's really exciting.
Okay, my final lesson for it is I realized that when I made the decision to sell, that I had this belief that I wasn't allowed to make a profit out of it, because I was kind of like, well, you got what you needed out of it, and you made your bed and you have to lie in it, or you made the decision to sell, so suck it up kind of thing. And so I've had to do a lot of work around this the last month, that no, this is an asset that I've poured so much love and care and attention to, and I deserve to be rewarded over and above the experience for that, as in I deserve to make a great profit from this, to put into that next phase of life and to get a return, because so much of it has been my business profits gone straight into that, all the people that it employed, all of the beautiful creative experiences it gave to people, the dreams as well, even just people hearing about what we've done there, I know has been a big inspiration for people. So I had to change my mindset that no, you're allowed to have that experience, and you're just allowed to break even on it and basically pay off the outstanding mortgage, and that's it. And so that's my big thing too, and I hope that someone needs to hear that you're allowed to make a big profit. You're allowed to profit from your creativity. You're allowed to profit from when you change your mind. Okay, so that's what I'm going into this next phase. And I'm like, no massive, big, risky projects for a while. I've kind of had my fill of those things, and I know that we'll always look on that period as just such a blessed, beautiful, creative time. So if you're listening to this and we haven't sold the farm yet, please share it with someone that you think would be a perfect custodian for it. And hopefully by the time you listen to it, it has been moved to the next beautiful owner. And please continue to support it and follow Lawn Rose Farm on social media too, and to see what the new owners do. Thank you for listening, and I'd love to hear your ahas about this episode too. Otherwise, I'll see you next week on another episode of Chill and Prosper. Take care. Bye.
Start your business for the freedom of time. Now you're tired of the hustle and grind. There's gotta be a better way. It's time to listen to Chill and Prosper. Welcome to Chill and Prosper. You're ready to chill and prosper with Denise Duffield-Thomas.